Rick, how do you attribute the president's standing today?
Well, I think his standing is actually pretty good under the circumstances, quite good under the circumstances.
And will be better or will be worse?
Well, I think that no matter what happens tomorrow, the Democrats are going to lose a whole bunch of seats in the next election, and there'll be a big fight. I agree with everything Rick said about the sequel to health care code. It's just the beginning, whichever way it goes. They're going to lose a whole bunch of seats, and then there'll be a fight over how to interpret that. Would they have lost more? I personally think they'll lose many, many more if the bill does not pass than they will if the bill does pass. But either way, they're going to lose a whole lot of seats. And so there will be a large part of the plutocracy and the blogosphere that's going to say, see, we told you if you pass this bill, it would be a disaster for you. Yeah, I think it's gotten the freedom of the press belongs to the man who owns one. That now everybody owns the press, and every kid in his basement has a potentially global audience. The cost of distribution has vanished.
Once you come back, you have to show your contract to get that.
Yeah. Well, and you don't.
Let's go back to the other line.
Okay. A vice of mine is sometimes I read the comment sections on blogs that I visit. I mean, I know this is wrong. I should never. Sometimes I start, and then it's sort of like a free fall. And then 100 comments later, and I'm saying, why did I do this? But it's like madness. And I used to handle the letters that came in over the transom at National Review. We used to have transoms. They were things on doors. But, just the mail that came in. And, and this is the stuff that I would just like, you throw away. I mean, green ink, multiple underlinings, signed by so-and-so PhD. That was an infallible sign of the writers of the novel. I'm sorry for everyone in this house, but you wouldn't sign your letters now. But, boy, the foaming people certainly did. But now there it all is in the comments section.
Yeah.
And they keep, it goes back and forth. I mean, sometimes you get these comments things, and it's like 25 things back and forth, and I go at it, and I'm thinking, there's like the sun out there. I mean, don't you have a life here?
Back to the side.
Dan Grogan, thanks, Bob, to the Institute for this gathering.
Thank you.
We started off the Q&A talking about movement to the middle of the spectrum, and would not preferential voting address that a little bit more? And I think parenthetically, the Oscars were determined in this manner, rather than this is your one vote. You do 1, 2, 3, 4, and the most the candidate preferred overall instead of the absolute winner. And your reflections on several shots have gone on about tinkering with the Constitution, what changes, and it seemed like a rather obvious improvement would be to extend and stagger congressional, that crazy 2-year limit. So, your reflections, please.
I don't have a strong feeling about it. I guess it would be better to have a 4-year term than a 2-year term for the Congress. I don't think it would make that much difference. I do like this idea of instant runoff voting, of preferential voting. If you have to have a winner-take-all seat, then the nice thing about preferential voting is, well, the two-party. Well, there was an earlier question about third parties or a centrist third party coming in. That doesn't work in a plurality winner-take-all system. You've got to have two parties. Otherwise, the side that has when you start a third party, it will damage the party closest to it ideologically. That's what's always happened. But with instant runoff voting, with ranking your choices And then if somebody gets 50% of first choices, they're elected. Otherwise, the one at the bottom is dropped. And you see what their second choices are. And you keep doing this till somebody has the grudging approval of the majority. That way, that is a way of kind of pushing civility and consensus. There won't be a complete zero-sum game campaign. You'll want to have both friendly feelings as followers of some of your rivals in order to get their second and third choices. So I'm for that. I think it's a reform that's compatible with the constitutional forms that we have now. It would be that hard to institute. Very hard. You couldn't do it at the presidential level, but you could certainly do it for members of Congress.
Would that get us back toward the middle?
Well, wise politicians do know that. One of my favorite lines that any politician ever said was Martin Van Buren. And this was before he was president. He was in New York State politics, which was very Byzantine in his field. And his great enemy was DeWitt Clinton. And they fought, and they fought, and they fought. And, of course, DeWitt Clinton was governor of New York when the Erie Canal, when ground was broken before it. And Van Buren had gone on to Washington to be a senator, but his machine still existed. And then he learned that it was a governor's election, Clinton lost. And then he learned that his guys back in New York had kicked Clinton off the Canal Commission. And Van Buren said, there's such a thing in politics as killing a man too dead. Very wise remark. And then what happened, and he was right, because people felt sorry for DeWitt Clinton. He won, he came back in, so he was governor again when the canal was finished, and he got to preside over the San Ramon. They took a bucket of water from Lake Erie and they sailed down and they dumped it into New York Harbor. But so people, there can also be, human knowledge and psychological realism and wisdom can also play a factor sometimes. And sometimes that helps.